Welcome to my channel, to everyone who's new here, and of course for those of you who are back again, great to have you here. Bitcoin is currently trading at 117,100 US dollar. In this video we are going to talk about Bitcoin, Ethereum, XRP and Solana. Things remain exciting, so make sure to watch until the end. So let me first take out the drawings which I have drawn here, because we have said that we should, if we want to be more bullish and if we want to get new all-time highs, even into the area 130,000 US dollar or even more, we need some kind of bullish chart pattern, which we can develop. And we have said here that we need a consolidation within a falling wedge, for example, and we should see the area which I have drawn here in a small circle. So we didn't get our bullish chart pattern. The thing is, we are currently in that box, but we have formed one of the most bearish chart patterns, and I will show you that. This here is a so-called H pattern. So this is the most bearish chart pattern. Why that? Because we have a massive sell-off, we have a dead cat bounce, and once we break here to the downside, which we did, which we retested even, and now waiting for the follow through. If this is going to happen, then I can take the length of the massive sell-off, which is the length right here, and I put it then to the breakout point. The thing is that I usually do it at the breakout point, but in this case here, like maybe here's the breakout, maybe this here is the breakout. So what I can say is that those candles on the right side are lower than the candles on the left side. So what I can expect is that this here was the retest. So I put it to the retest point, which is this one right here. So when do I have the confirmation that we are going to sell off into the box 110,000 US dollar? So I would say, you see that dark blue trend line, I will make this one red now. The current price mark is going to be the 116,700 US dollar. If we break on the daily time frame, not on the 1 hour time frame, on the daily time frame. In this case right here, we have a candle wick lower than the red trend line. Means if we then go to the 1 hour chart, for example, then you are going to see that 1 hour candles close lower than this. 1 hour candles close lower than the red trend line. But if we go into the daily time frame, then you can see that none of the candles on this here actually broke to the downside. So we didn't even get a candle close. So here we got, for example, the candle close. Before we got also a wick like this, but look how massively we got bought up. Here we got a wick and we massively bought up. What I want to tell you is, wait for the 1 hour candle, for the 1 day candle, so the daily candle, to close lower than the red trend line, because the chance that we sell off afterwards more is far higher. So 116,720 US dollar. If they break to the downside, first target is going to be the 115,000 US dollar, which is on the 4 hour time frame in orange, the rising wedge. So this here is the rising wedge, which we also would then break to the downside. The thing is, if the rising wedge breaks to the downside, the target is going to be far more less than 110,000 US dollar. But since we have a support box there, and since the whole market looks bullish to me, even though we got far worse PPI data, which indicates a higher inflation rate, so the CPI data. So PPI, price producer index, that's the inflation rate for the producers. And the thing is, if the producers have an inflation rate then most likely they are going to increase the prices of their product, and this is the inflation which we as customers get. And the PPI data was forecasted, I think, with a 0.3% or 0.2%, and we got 0.9%, far more higher. And that indicates that we have a higher inflation, and the higher inflation indicates that we most likely don't see any kind of rate cuts soon from the Fed. That's why the market is going to be, at the moment, a bit, I don't want to say choppy, but the whole bullish scenarios which we got, they based on the data that we should see rate cuts very soon. It might be possible that it's just going to delay a bit longer and that we get a pullback into 110,000 US dollar, for example, or even a bit lower, might be possible, but ignore that circle. I will take this one out. It was based on fair value gaps in the past. And then we have to see, maybe the market is going to be bullish once we get into that area, depending on how we get even to lower prices. Maybe we are going to form a double bottom pattern, which afterwards break to the upside. Then it would be bullish. But for now, we don't know that, how the market is going to react over the weekend and in the next week. So if we now look to Ethereum, then what I can say is that we got to all of our targets since we were here. We have said 4.4k is going to be the overall target. Then we have formed the bull flag, round about 6k is going to be the target. And so on and so on. So we have actually built up many chart patterns which directed us into the area between 4,400 US dollar to 4,600 US dollar. We even overshot that target by $200, I think. Yeah, 4.8k. So let me take out all of that, because we hit all the targets, this circle here as well. And what we have said was that we should see the area at round about 4.6k, or even a bit higher or lower, doesn't matter, like this area. And from here we should sell off. And the thing is now how we are going to sell off. So let me take this out, this one here too, and this one too. So also Ethereum has the H pattern on the 1 hour time frame. You are going to see it. I'm talking about this H pattern right here. We broke it to the downside, we retested it. But you can also you can already see that Ethereum is far more bullish. So since we broke it to the downside and since we are currently retesting it, I can imagine for Ethereum getting into the price area 4,120 US dollar. As long as we don't get here a massive push over the tops right here. I will give you here the price mark as well. So around about 4,662 US dollar. If we break it to the upside, then yes, Ethereum can go up to 5k in my opinion, or even more. But so far, the setup looks to me, maybe we can fill the fair value gaps. If yes, and if we sell off again, then we have to change our price target to the retest point, and then we are even far less bearish. Ethereum, most bullish coin at the moment. That's why the sell-off is not going to be that much. If we look over the other altcoins, like for example Ethereum minus 6.8%, other coins are at the area minus 13 to minus 15% with this chart pattern. So also here, I can imagine sell-off into at least 4,100 US dollar. And in that case, we would also fill a fair value gap. That would be positive. We also have many fair value gaps lower than 3,976 US dollar. But that's nothing where I would say we have to look for. As long as we hold the 4,100 US dollar, everything is good. And once we break the 3,975 US dollar to the downside, then yes, with a very high chance, we are going to see the fair value gaps which we have built down below. But I will keep you updated with that once we see more chart structure. So If we now look over XRP, then XRP is, I think we have 4 coins in that list which didn't break the H pattern to the downside yet. So this is the H pattern. It also looks like a double bottom pattern. So XRP is one of the only coins which have this kind of setup, which is also bullish. The thing here is that if the overall crypto market is going to sell off more, then XRP is just going to get this breakdown a bit later. And here's then a trade possible. I'm currently in 5 short trades for Solana, Sui, HBAR and Kaspa ONDO. Those 5 coins I have shorted because they have broke to the downside and retested this pattern. Basically, what I can imagine is if they sell off far more, XRP is also going to sell to the downside. And I would just give you here the target as well. It's then going to be the $2.64, but also here we have support, $2.67, and here's also the support at $2.73, so we can sell off there instead of to the maximum extension. We have said about XRP that we broke the bull flag to the upside, we even retested the bull flag, but to increase our position size even more and to be really long, we have to break the $3.36 to the upside. If I delete this one right here, then you can see that we actually got rejected here. And with the PPI data, it's not looking good. But the breakout at $3.14 is still there. If we break it to the upside, then we have the chance getting into the fair value gap between $3.28 to $3.32, in my opinion. If we break on the other side, $3 to the downside, then I have said, okay, target $2.67 in its maximum extension. If we now look over Solana, then you will also see why I have shorted this coin. So basically, this here is the H pattern in my opinion, broke to the downside, got its retest. We also have formed a falling wedge, and I can still imagine that this here is not the retest. The retest can go up to the fair value gap and from here sell off. Then we have to change the target a bit from this here to up here. Since we don't have it yet, I can still keep it right here. Target is going to be 163 US dollar. And in this case, I would say here we have a good support trend line where we can even bounce before we get into the target. But I would also think it would be very good if we sell off, because those fair value gaps, if we go into the bigger time frame, let's check it. Those are bigger fair value gaps, are not on the 8-hour chart. But on the 4-hour chart, we still have the fair value gaps. I want them to get closed, because if they get closed, and I don't care about this one right here, but I care about all of them in total. So if we close those fair value gaps, then we don't have to be scared that we sell off to fill other fair value gaps, because the next significant fair value gap would be at 136, 140 US dollar in that area, and this is far too low, so we have to sell off far more, and then it's more safe to trade, in my opinion, Solana into the long direction. But for now, it looks short to me. Into 169 US dollar, I will also give you here the price mark. If we break the falling wedge to the upside, current price mark is going to be 193 US dollar, but over the time, we are going to move the price more because this is a downwards trend line. Let me measure how much we can get up then. So I will also do it in bright blue. We take the spread of the falling wedge and we put it then to the breakout point. So if we break it to the upside in the next hour, then the target is going to be 215 US dollar. If we break it on later time, then the target is going to move probably into the highs $209. this is going to be realistic, but then I would even look for, if we break it here really to the upside, that this is not just going to be a double top pattern and then we are going to sell off even more. So I would be very careful. We have to look into the charts even more and more precise. For now, I'm short with 5 coins and I'm waiting for a bigger pullback, like, I don't want to say a crash, but a small crash, where I get some profits out of my short trades, and then I'm going to reinvest that earnings into coins like, for example, XRP, which didn't break to the downside yet. But once every coin is going to sell off 5 to 10%, XRP is with a very high chance somewhere then here, and also broke the chart pattern to the downside, and it's also on the way to $2.70, I think we have set, $2.68. Anyway, so with that said, bigger pullback, yes, I think that we have the chart patterns there. We have not a good PPI data, means maybe not rate cuts this year. So the market is very careful. The market is not that bullish at the moment because of the PPI data. So the market is going to wait a bit more longer to jump into long trades. But for now, let's expect a bigger pullback before we can get far higher prices, in my opinion. So with that said, we see each other in the Sui, Avalanche, HBAR and Dogecoin update.